Hello everyone. Today I've got three amazing horror books. These are the kind you do not want to put down. These are unput-downable. They create new worlds, different kinds of characters. They're all violent and gory at times, and they will terrify you. These ones are absolutely fantastic. And as a reminder, I have horror books for sale, and you can find the books you see on your screen and others at the link in the description. And if you want to join my Patreon, I upload free short horror stories every month, free horror books from other authors every month, and soon coming exclusive videos just for my Patreon members. So be sure to check that link out if that's something you're interested in. All right, let's get started. So the first book I want to talk about today is called Blood Vendetta. This book is like a Western noir with a touch of the supernatural in there, with some awesome characters. The best way for me to describe it would be like a spaghetti western written by Quentin Tarantino with some David Lynch weirdness thrown in to the mix, and you cannot go wrong with that. And basically this is about three characters, although there are many characters in here you're just going to find fascinating, but mainly three characters, and they're all seeking some kind of vengeance, some kind of revenge on different people for things that have happened in their past. And at the beginning of the book, they don't know each other, but we will get to know all of these characters very well. You have the vigilante, you have a Mexican shaman, you have a girl from Asia who is part of one of the top assassin clans in the world. So you got that element in there. She travels to the west to seek revenge on the members of another clan who had killed her parents. And they don't know each other at first, but their paths will cross. And there will be a lot of bloodshed when that happens, and even before. Because that's the thing about this book. It's not just a straightforward revenge story about these three characters. This book has twists, and it has turns, and it has secrets that once they're revealed just changes everything you thought you knew about the story. Some revelations later in the book that are going to make you feel differently about some characters maybe. But it's very bloody, very violent, and it has a great Western atmosphere, although it's set in kind of an alternative Western setting, not the traditional one, and you'll read about that. But it's still got that Western vibe. And you got the bad guys, and you got the outlaws, and you got the shootouts, and you have the brothels, and you have the saloons, and you have the horses, and you have everything you want in a Western. But it's just done in a very violent way. Now, and that's the thing about this book is that one thing I really love about books is when you have characters that are at least morally gray, if not out and out bad guys, acting as protagonists almost. And there are no good people in this book at all. Okay, all these people are bad to a certain degree. They all have blood on their hands. Not all of it was innocent blood either, as we'll find out. Now, some may be better than others for reasons that will be explained in the book, why they're seeking their revenge, and it might be a worthy cause. But they will absolutely stop at nothing and go through anybody to get there, even people who might not deserve that fate. And if they need information for someone and that someone is not forthcoming with it, it's not going to end well for them. There are just some great bloody scenes in here that you are going to appreciate. Now, the Mexican shaman, he also has a touch of the supernatural. He goes on these spirit quests every so often, and he talks to a spirit animal, a raven, and the raven's a trip. Just like another character in the book, this raven, his spirit animal, talks to him, and their relationship is very interesting. Let me put it that way. I don't want to give too much away, but I have really enjoyed those little spirit quests he went on throughout the book. And as I said, as secrets are revealed and we find out more about their past, we're going to find out that perhaps, even though they didn't know each other at the beginning, they come from different parts of the world and everything, that perhaps through other people and circumstances, their lives have crossed before at one point or another. And you have to read it to see how that plays out. But this book is fantastic. I could not put it down. I absolutely loved it. Highly recommend it. And there is a link in the description where you can pick up your copy. And next we have How to Survive Camping. The Man with No Shadow. The thing is, this is going to be a series, and I can't wait for more books. And this one is so good. I can't wait for the rest of the books to come out, because there are so many different creatures in here that you've never seen before. The monsters in this book are real, but they're not based on anything you've read before. This author used their imagination and came up with them on their own, and it works fantastically. And it's about a woman, and she runs a campground that has been in her family for generations. When somebody reserves a camping space, she sends them a guidebook, kind of like a rule book. And you have the standard stuff in there about camping and safety and fire hazards and latrine use and all the things you would expect. But her rules are a little different in this campground. Things like, don't ever talk to the man with no shadow. Do not buy ice from the children if they don't have a wagon. Never ever follow the light. Just don't do it. And there's a dark, terrible monstrosity out there that if you look at him, do not look at him. Cover your eyes if you see him or hear him coming, because it's not going to end well for you. So they have all these monsters in this campground, and it's fenced off from the rest of the town, and the rest of the town knows about these monsters. They've lived there long enough. The old timers that have been camping there for years, they're well aware of these supernatural rules, the do's and don'ts. But some newbies always aren't, or they think it's a joke, and it ends horrifically for them. Wait until you read about that. But she does her best to protect the town from these creatures, and in return she gets leeway finding dead bodies and things. The sheriff will come in and kind of sweep it under the rug and take care of it for her and everything. But this one is about the man with no shadow. And although this book does have a great sense of humor about it, in its, pardon the pun, but in its campiness, kinda. It doesn't take away from the terror. It doesn't take away from the horror. It doesn't take away from the bloodshed at all. I mean, the monsters in here are so diverse and so frightening to think about, and the Man with No Shadow was a good place to start this series, I think, because he is absolutely terrifying. If you talk to him, if you have a conversation with him, not about anything, doesn't matter. He gets into your head, he gets his hooks in you, and then you are his puppet, you are his slave, and he can have you do very, very nasty things to yourself and other people. And when he's done with you, he'll kill you, and all the other monsters will feed on him. Very brutal. And she's gonna. The camp director kind of has control of the monsters. They've had kind of an uneasy at times truce about protecting the campers that are there and not going across the fence into town. There are certain magical items in place to stop them, but we're going to find out that the Man with No Shadow has been plotting for a long time to get rid of her so that he can unleash the monsters, not only in the town, but on all the campers, and he wants to unleash hell. And there's going to be a showdown between her ragtag group of employees, and her other family members who are very much all aware of the dangers that present themselves in this campground. Yeah, this thing is so good. Like I said, it's got a great sense of humor about it, but it's still very terrifying. It has all these great monsters that you never heard of before that the author just, came out of their imagination, and I absolutely loved all of them, and I can't wait to see where this series goes. This might be one of my favorite books of the first half of this year, actually. It would be in that category because it was so good I could not put it down. I absolutely loved it. Of course, I highly recommend it, and there is a link in the description where you can pick up your copy. And next we have Feeding the Wheel. I love a good folk horror book. That's no secret. I love folk horror. This one combines that with psychological terror. And, oh man, this one is just weird. It's strange. It's out there as any good folk horror book should be. And it's about two best friends. They've been friends for a long, long time, like years and years and years. Two best friends. And I don't want to give away too much because it's not that long. But they go into the woods one day and they discover children around this big portal-like thing shining in the woods. And a creature that comes out of the woods chooses one of these children to feed it to this portal. And when they do, it's not, they just don't disappear. They get chewed up, and bones and blood and guts and everything as they're being fed into there. But the children don't seem to mind it. They actually want it. They're disappointed when they're not chosen by this creature. The men witness this, and they're kind of invited into the circle. And we're going to find out that by participating in this ritual, they gain some of the power from what's ever on the other side of that portal. Let me put it that way. They gain certain abilities. And basically, they become extremely lucky in their lives. Extremely lucky. They age very, very slowly, so they're always better looking, you know. Every business venture kicks off like they can't fail. Everything falls into place, and they soon find themselves extremely wealthy. But of course, at some point, they have to move on with their lives, move to different cities and towns, and you'll read about that. But every so often, they come back to this place and perform this ritual with the children, and to keep their power going, because it doesn't last forever. And the more they do it, the more often they have to go back, because it's starting to wane, and they don't want that. One man, one of the guys, he wants out of it though. He just has a bad feeling. What's going to happen when this portal closes? Because it's becoming more shabbier and shabbier every time they go. It's a little weaker every time they go. And he's not too thrilled about the fact that basically they're watching this thing sacrifice children, and he's not real happy with that. The other one, though, is greedy, and he just wants more and more and more, so he's going to manipulate and set things up and for the other guy one last time and that kind of thing, but it's not going to end well, because he's very manipulative, and he's very focused only on his greed and what he can get out of it. He has no morals for any of the children or any of the side effects that may happen because of this ritual they're doing. And we'll get that in full detail as the book goes on, what's happening with this ritual. It's very horrific, though. And yeah, and they are going to come to a head. These two best friends, they're going to clash over if they should even be doing this anymore. And it's not going to end well. Let me put it that way. It's not going to end well. It's going to end horrifically. Yeah, this one is great. It's got all them great folk horror elements. You got the psychological horrors of these two friends. And you know that one of them is like going off the deep end, and he's not going to let his buddy go no matter what. So you have that psychological factor in there. Yeah, it's very tense, very exciting. It's not that long, so you should be able to finish it within a day or two. It's absolutely great. I did not want to put it down because I had to see how this whole thing was going to play out, because there's so much in there to digest, you know. Yeah, I absolutely loved it. Of course, I highly recommend it. And there is a link in the description to get your copy. And as always, I want to say thank you for taking some of your time and spending it here with me. And until we meet again, keep reading spooky, my friends.